Welcome everyone to the PJScast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside my good pal Dylan. Happy Thanksgiving to all our Canadian listeners out there. Just finishing having some dinner with my family. Had a lot of mashed potatoes, some gravy, some ham, some turkey, all that good stuff. And now we're here to record a podcast. First week of NHL hockey is done. Great first week. October hockey is always fun because it's usually sloppy. All the teams are still kind of trying to figure things out, like that Calgary Vancouver game where Vancouver took an early 4-0 lead, but then Calgary came back and won it. Utah, every game they've played in has been a crazy game. Like there was a back and forth game between them and the Rangers, 6-5. So lots of good hockey, lots of good sports going on in general right now. I mean, the Bears just won today. That's cool. I think the Bengals are playing right now. I believe they're
they played tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get back off. They got to end that losing streak, to say the least.
Yeah, they're not doing too well, but the Bears are. Do you want to talk about the Bears and how they've been doing?
Yeah, we can talk about the Bears. I mean, Bears are it's the most fun I've had watching the Bears in 5 years at least.
Hell yeah.
You know, the defense was already great. That's been the case since week one, but the offense has progressively gotten better every week. And like, you'll see two sides of the coin with people talking about the Bears. They'll just talk about the last 3 weeks, and people will talk about the progression week by week that this team has had. I think it just comes with it's a lot of new pieces. They're all gelling together. Like Keenan Allen just finally got 2 touchdowns today. That was huge because he really needed to get involved more in the offense and had that heel injury in the preseason. But it all starts with Caleb. I mean, he is since that Texans game has taken. Well, I'll say since the halftime of the Colts game where he like hit a Hail Mary, it's been completely different quarterback from the first 2 games to now. It took him 2 games to acclimate. He has more wins in the first 6 games than any number 1 pick ever. Like Andrew Luck didn't do this, all that. John Elway never did this, like no one. That comes from his great supporting cast, but it also comes with him elevating the team as a whole. This is the first time in a long time the Bears can go down like 7 or 10, and I'm not too worried because the offense can actually go do something most of the time. O-line's gotten a lot better. Swift's getting more involved, which is great because you can't go anywhere without a good run game. And, you know, they're really making him the bell cow now, which is very appreciative. You know, Komet's doing great. You know, I feel like when you have this many targets on an offense, you have to take turns of which one's going to be the star today. So today it was Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet. Last week it was DJ Moore. Week before it was DeAndre Swift. Everyone's kind of taking their chance. Like, obviously, if I could have it my way, Romo Dunze would be more involved. But, you know, that comes with chemistry. That comes with timing. That comes with what the play call is from the get-go. But no complaints from me. I mean, Caleb needs 3 more touchdowns to beat the Bears rookie fucking quarterback record. So I'm not, like, the fact that the bar is that low, it doesn't matter. Like, this guy genuinely could break the franchise passing touchdown record if he keeps this trajectory up in the next 11 games. The record's 29, and I'm pretty sure he has 10 already. So
like a third of a way there, yeah.
Yep. It's very possible. He's completely changed the franchise. Shut up a lot of naysayers that tried to write off a rookie after 2 games, which is just crazy to begin with.
The hating was crazy, not just from like his play, but just a bunch of other bullshit that the internet always does. It's like, yeah, it's good to see.
Caleb, I don't know what it is, but they don't. Most people don't vibe with him and whatnot, which is unfortunate, but whatever. He plays good football for my team, and that's all I care about. So, and he's a hell of a. He says all the right stuff in the interviews. His teammates love him, which I think is clear. Shout out to, you know, Matt Eberflus. He's doing his job with his side of the ball. The defense has been tremendous. They were down 2 people in the secondary today, and you would have never known. You would have just never known. This is a team that on paper doesn't look like they'll get pressure. They get pressure every fucking play. It's kind of insane. Javon Dexter's taken a tremendous step year 2. Montez Sweat still is super consistent. DeMarcus Walker is way better this year than he was last year. He's way more acclimated to the system. Andrew Billings is a great one tech. Like they're one edge rusher away from that defense being the best defense in football, genuinely. And you can probably go trade for it, but it's a fun time to be a Bears fan, man. Going into the bye week 4-2. They'll play Jaden Daniels and the Commanders the first game out of the bye in Washington. That's going to be a really good game, I think, because, you know, Cliff Kingsbury's offense versus defense is going to be a show, and then the Commanders' defense isn't the best. Like last time we played them, DJ Moore had 250 yards receiving. So I think it's very possible that the Bears have a very good outing there. You just got to prepare and don't come out flat-footed in the bye. But overall, it's a fun time to be a Bears fan, man. No other way to put it.
So they're 4-2. What do you think about their playoff odds, or is that still something? Oh, we got to wait for another year for that.
Oh, I think they can make the playoffs this year. I said that before.
Well, who's in their division?
They're in the best division in football. So the Vikings are 5-0.
Yeah,
Lions just beat the Cowboys 47-9, so they're 4-1. And then the Packers are 4-2 also. So it's a stacked division. But I like the thing is, I think it's like weeks 10 through 18. They play all 6 of their division games. So it's like that's going to be the time of the year, and it's going to be late. Like their schedule is built to where we're going to know if they're a playoff team in the back half because they're playing all good teams and they're playing all division games. And the best part is if they can stack these wins now, you only have to win like half of those and you're probably a playoff team. Like right now, they would be all the NFC North teams would be in the playoffs right now if the season ended today. But it's a stacked division, man. All the teams know how to build rosters very well. And if I was a betting man, if Caleb keeps this trajectory up, yes, I do think they could make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division just because the Lions and the Vikings are so good. But 6 seed, 7 seed, wild card, definitely could see it. And that's huge for this team. Huge. Even if they're over 500, which is what I really wanted going into the year, but like genuinely, like 10-7 should be the floor now with how good they've been.
Yeah, it just feels like more so like following a lot of Blackhawks fans. Obviously, I'm following a lot of Chicago sports fans that there's a lot of misery regarding the Bears, or has been over the past few years, and probably has been for a long time. But it does seem like just getting the gauge from the timeline, and even talking to you, obviously, like things are going well right now. Even if they don't make the playoffs, things are on a upward trajectory for the Chicago Bears.
Here's the thing, like it's not even it's more than just what's going on, like in terms of like Caleb's doing well and whatnot. Old Bears teams, when they played a team of lesser competition like they have the last couple of weeks, they don't blow them out. They usually win like 19-13, and it's just a sweat fest. It's just a slugfest the whole time. And they're doing what good football teams do, which is beat their competition substantially. And the last 2 weeks, they've played 2 bad teams in the Panthers and the Jags, and they have beaten them into the ground, which is what I want out of this team. You don't play with like good teams do not play with their food against bad competition, plain and simple. So that gives me hope. Schedule's going to get tougher out of the bye, obviously, but they still like after the Commanders, I think it's Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots, 49ers. So, like, if you can win 3 of those, that's awesome. If you can win 4 of those, we're really cooking with grease.
Cooking with grease.
Yeah. And if you can win 2, like you're 6-4, that's a good record in 10 weeks. And then you really can make or break your whole season with those divisional games, 100%. That's the crazy part. Like, you look at the NFC North right now, they're all good. They all have to play each other. So they're just going to beat up on each other. It's going to be a bunch of 12, 11, 10 win teams. Or like I bet the worst team is 9-8 this year. I bet.
All above 500. That's crazy.
I genuinely think it's possible with the way these teams are playing right now. Like they're just beating the crap out of like the Packers won 34-13 today. Like they're beating the crap out of their competition. All of them. It's not just one team. Like next week it's Vikings Lions. So we're going to know like who's who. Packers play the Texans next week. Like it's gonna be, we're gonna start finding out if who's real and who's fake. Like everyone thought the Saints were gonna be good because they dropped 40 points in 2 straight games. Saints are 2-4 now, and like the Cowboys are like they started off kind of hot. They're 3-3 now and just lost by 40 at home. Like.
Yeah, I know that by checking the group chat with Connor.
Oh, yeah. You're going to start finding out what teams are real and what teams are fake. And the more the Bears keep playing like this, the more I think they're real. And their defense is real regardless. So if the offense, it's more like the offense just needs to keep doing what they're doing, and they just need to not make dumb coaching mistakes here and there, and they're going to win more than they lose, 100%.
We always talk about, like, by American Thanksgiving in the NHL, this is the threshold. Usually if you're in a playoff spot by then, that's like I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a very good chance that you're going to be in the playoffs. Like, what is there a
Halloween.
cutoff date? Halloween? Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Okay,
because the trade deadline's right around there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what is that? It's 3 weeks from now, so that'd be week 9. That's like halfway point of the season. That's when you kind of need to decide if you're gonna keep pushing or you're gonna sell off or you're gonna, like the seeding starts. Like you're always gonna have a team that like has a great second half, but it's just like hockey. Like it's not as early as hockey, but it's like halfway point of the season. It's when it's make or break. Like there's been years where the Bears have started off 7-2 and missed the playoffs. I've seen years where the Bengals went like 3-5 and they made the playoffs. Like it really depends. But most of the time, like if you got like 7 wins, like recently, if you have 7 wins before then, you're usually pretty good. But it's the NFL, man. No wins a given, which I feel like people forget. And then we'll have things like the Cardinals beating the 49ers. And it's like, oh, yeah, these teams are all full of really good athletes. Like, I feel like the NHL gets that sometimes, too. Like, like, oh, the Blackhawks beat the Oilers last night. Oh, well, it's almost like they're all really good NHL players, and you can't be elite every night.
No. And it's like, yeah, you could win 50 games in the NHL. You're still going to lose 32 overtime losses, be damned, And like we've talked about the Blackhawks. Like as Steve Dangle says, it's an 82 game season. There's so many games to be played. It's like, yeah, even if the Blackhawks get to 30 wins, 7 more than they had last year, you're still losing 52 games. So it's a lot of ground to make up in the NHL, and we can obviously get into that now. And honestly, great first week for the Blackhawks. I feel there is a lot of being made about the Blackhawks going on training camps, and they had some stinkers, especially against the Wild. It just seems like over the past few years, they haven't been able to play the Wild well. And of course, in the preseason, they just shit the bed, look so discombobulated. I think the only game they won was when they were in Milwaukee playing the Blues, and they basically had the Ice Hogs playing against them. So that's a sign of, oh, the Ice Hogs are probably going to be good, though. And they won their opening game. And we talked about coming into the year, Luke Richardson, not necessarily on the hot seat, but it's like, okay, you got some pieces now. You got to prove what you can do with them. This is no longer, oh, we're actively gunning for the first overall pick, a top 3 pick. I don't think playoffs are in the picture, but, no more of that. Like we got to get the road to 30 wins. Like if they're still picking like 7th or 8th this year, I still think that's good for the team to grow, but also just to get another high draft pick in there. But I would argue Anders Sorensen has just as much pressure on Luke Richardson to develop all these young players. And the first game the Ice Hogs played, they beat the Griffins 4-1 yesterday. And obviously that highlight Kevin Korchinski goal, we've seen what Sorensen's been able to do with the defenseman, Vlasic, I mean, we'll talk about Vlasic later, and Kaiser has looked good as well, but Kevin Korchinski, we were talking with Mitch Brown last year of, how do we know, a young player, especially a defenseman, is going to be able to keep it, like, make it in the NHL. It's like, if they, stick true to who they are. Kevin Korchinski in his draft year was this, tall, left-handed shot, mobile skating defenseman who could produce offense. In the first game down in the AHL, scores a highlight reel goal. Great start for the Ice Hogs. I think they can make the playoffs this year, maybe go on a deep run, maybe go for the Calder Cup. And, you got guys like down there like Frank Nazar, Colton Dock had a great game. Their defense is still great, and Drew Kamessa's down there. So you got a lot of pieces that could be on this team within the year. I think that's important. But the Blackhawks, on to them now. 1-1-1 start, other than the first period against the Utah Hockey Club. I thought they played pretty great. I'm rambling on. Whatever your thoughts on the Blackhawks so far?
I agree. I mean, the first period of the first game of the season, they looked like crap, and after that, they've kind
stinker.
They've really
stinker goal by Mrazek too.
They've been extremely structured, which I think is something we can't really say about a lot of Blackhawks teams the last 5 or so years. Now the teammates are starting to get some chemistry together. I think the Kurashev line has been the best line overall in all 3 games, but I mean, obviously Teravainen and Bedard have just been lighting it up as of last game.
We needed that.
Yeah, big time. Bedard looks like he's playing at a whole nother level this year. He was playing like a man possessed last night.
There's just
so many sequences where he seems like he should be out of the play and he just comes right back in and gets a scoring chance out of it or converts on a play that should not be converted on. And it just shows you that you like
that play where he got knocked down and still almost got an assist because Tabo hit the crossbar. Oh,
yep.
It's like everyone's so zeroed in on his goal scoring that everyone just goes to him, but then it's like, oh, he's almost pretty much an equal parts playmaker that can make amazing plays like that, which is really the great thing about Bedard. He is not a one-trick pony at all.
No, like I feel like a year, like if he keeps going at the rate he's going in terms of his playmaking and in terms of like how his wingers perform around him, 40 and 60 is not out of the equation whatsoever. I mean, that's basically double. It's like multiplying what he had last year by 1.5 in some terms. Because like, I don't know, like a goal like he had last night is the goal that reminds him like, oh yeah, I have like a top 10 shot in the league. I should probably start using that a little more. Because there are times where this guy will not shoot the puck, and I'm just like, dude, even if you think it's a bad angle, the way you shoot the puck, it's gonna be a good angle. The goalie does not know how to fucking handle you. He's already shitting a brick watching you skate towards him at rapid speed because he's clearly picked up a step in his skate.
Oh yeah, he looks quicker, absolutely, yeah.
So much quicker. It's insane. And he's looks stronger on the puck. Like he's being more physical on the boards. Like we're seeing the Connor Bedard that we saw in junior. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Bedard when he was in Regina would just be a bully on the puck. And he's doing that right now. And that's what, like, when you see the Sidney Crosby comparisons at times in terms of just like his tenacity on the puck, like you see it in games like that Edmonton game.
What do we call Crosby? He's the best grinder to ever play the game of hockey.
He is, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Like he is. Sidney Crosby's so good. That's besides the point. Mm-hmm. But it's just the potential of this kid is through the roof. He's got the hands of Patrick Kane. He has he has the strength on the puck of Crosby, and you know he just casually has Austin Matthews. He has an Austin Matthews level wrist shot. Like he's literally the perfect package for a franchise player. And I'm very fortunate that my two favorite teams have very good players leading the helm right now. I'm very happy about that. And like in terms of it's great because it took them throwing Mikheyev on the top line being an idiot to play the lines the way I like them to be played. Because like Foligno, as much as no one wants him on the top line, he creates space for those two. That's his job. That's what he does. He does his part, yeah. Second line's been great. I think Hall's slowly getting his legs back every game, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of whiffed on a couple pucks, but like that's gonna happen.
Bertuzzi, I really like Khrushchev, to be honest.
Khrushchev's been awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
The whole thing about him has been, oh, well, he played a bunch of games with Connor Bedard, and yeah, like anyone can get points playing with Bedard. Just look at Nick Foligno, and I kind of thought that too. Like I've always thought, if this team is going to be contending for the cup, like he's a third line guy, and that's fine. Third line guys can help you win the Stanley Cup. Like just look at the Blackhawks of old. Marcus Kruger, more fourth line, but like Dave Bolin, like we saw Antoine Vermette on their third line be a difference maker. If you have someone like Philip Khrushchev down there, like absolutely. First couple of years I've said this so many times. It's like, what are you? You know, he got a lot of points in junior, and now he's kind of become more like no pun intended, a Swiss Army knife. Like he just seems so versatile. You can move him up and down the lineup, and yeah, he played with Bedard last year, got a lot of points, had a career year, and now he's on his own. Like, can you do this all by yourself? Can you drive a line, especially being a center? And so far he has, and that's promising. And I think I've said this so many times, the biggest thing is like this team needs more center depth, someone in between Connor Bedard and Jason Dickinson. I mean, Connor Bedard's Connor Bedard. Jason Dickinson you throw out as your, shutdown center, but you need one more center in there. And so far, Philip Khrushchev's done that job. So, yeah, it's not just, he's going to get traded. Like, Philip Khrushchev wants to be here, and he's certainly playing like it. It's definitely promising to see that. And I hope they keep the Lions as they are right now. I hope they just keep going with them and just let them build some chemistry. Because I've liked the way Hall, Khrushchev, and Bertuzzi has looked so far. And, like, again, ideally, like, you're not playing Foligno on the first line. I don't know, like, what you can do in the future. Maybe you give Reichel a shot there, or Athanasiou maybe. I don't know, but it's got the job done. Like as long as Bedard and Teravainen got the puck, I don't think the left wing really matters that much. But yeah, and then the second line, Hall, Kershaw, Bertuzzi. I mean, the third line of Mikheyev, Dickinson, and Anderson has done their job, and then the fourth line is just whatever. I like Patrick Maroon. He's not fast at all. He's definitely lost a step. I don't think he was ever fast to begin with, but he's throwing the body around and he's being a pain in the ass. And Connor Bedard said it: we got to be a pain to play against, and like they've done that. Like they haven't give any of the teams they played an easy win so far.
100%. And that's kind of the point I was trying to make with like they finally made the change to the lines I want to make, because like Mikheyev, Dickinson, Anderson has been the shutdown line I've wanted since we traded for Mikheyev, and it has paid dividends already 3 games into the season. Clearly they're playing Jason Dickinson in a more defensive role this year, which is fine, but I just think like he, Anderson, and Mikheyev, and then you throw Vlasic and Brody out there, like they're just going to suffocate people, or put Martinez and Jones out there, or put Vlasic and Jones out there. They kind of just run like a little rotation of those 4 normally. Yeah. But they're a great shutdown line. They're a great complement to what the top 6 is bringing right now. And I just kind of look at Nick Foligno as a placeholder at the end of the day. Like, and that might be for the whole season. It might be for a week. It might be for a game. I don't know. But like at the end of the day, like that top line left wing role is always going to be up for the grabs, because I'm sorry, Teravainen's kind of secured his spot on the right. So whether it's Hall, whether it's Bertuzzi, whether it's Kurashev again, whether it's someone in the minors, whether it's someone they draft, whether it's someone they sign, that's the role they're going to fill. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not, and like you said, I'm not too worried about who Bedard plays with. It's like McDavid, bro. Like McDavid got Patrick Maroon 30 goals his second year in the league. Like this is what Bedard's doing right now. Like he made Kurashev almost a 60-point player, and now Kurashev's a better player because of it. I genuinely think Teravainen can go 30 and 45 this year if he's with Bedard the whole year. Like, I think he has a chance to match all of his career highs if he keeps playing at the rate he's playing, because Teravainen's doing all the stuff he's done his whole career. He's just in a prime position to get points, which is something he hasn't had in Carolina the last few seasons.
This is the best center he's played with easily in his career. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's crazy to say because he's played with Taves and Aho and like all these great centers, but it's true. Good
centers, yeah.
Guys play with Hall of Famers, and he's played with 3 Hall of Famers potentially. Because like I think Aho has the potential to be a Hall of Famer if he can get some hardware, and Bedard is nuts. So, and they have chemistry. Like
way to describe it.
It works perfectly too. Because like, as much as I would like Bedard to work on the right circle, he loves working the left side of the ice. And Teravainen has a fucking nasty one-timer. So they are in a good spot for that, to say the least. And that's like when I went back and watched Teravainen's goals in Carolina, I was like, dude, this guy has a nasty one-timer. Like he sits in the right circle and he's like, I'm open. Just fucking throw it to me. I'll shoot it. And we kind of seen that. Like I also want to say shout out to Vlasic, because the pass on the second Teravainen goal was
dear Lord. I want to talk about it more, but we'll finish up on Bedard and Teravainen.
They're just so much fun to watch, honestly. And like Jones, like the most Seth Jones shift ever happened on that happened. No, like that first power play, they spent the first minute and 15 seconds not being able to get in the zone. And and then, of course, as soon as they get in the zone, Seth gets a goal shooting a 5-hole. Like, it's the most Seth Jones shift I've ever seen in my life. Got his 100th career goal, which is kind of crazy to think about.
His 800th game. Good for him.
Yeah, dude. Also, Joe Burrow just rushed for a 50-yard touchdown. What?
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go, Bengals!
Why is Joe Burrow running for touchdowns? What is 50-yard touchdowns? Like, sorry, I got thrown off topic. But Hawks are fun, man. They're actually, like, not a basement dweller. But also, like, it's early. Like, I need to see what they look like.
It's so early. Yeah. And that's kind of where they fell apart last year. They had an okay first month, like a respectable first month.
2 years in a row, they've had an okay first month, by the way. I want to point that out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the nature of the game so early on, because people were overreacting to the preseason. It's like, okay, it's the fucking preseason. But then also they've had a first 3 games, but it's the first 3 games. Yeah, we gotta wait till American Thanksgiving. Like when it's gotten really rough, it's been December, January. That's when Bedard got injured. I really want to see how this team performs in like the middle third of the season. Even like the last leg last year, they didn't play too bad. It's like, okay, first third, like last third. I want to see how they do in the middle third, because that's the hardest time to pick up wins. That's when a lot of the elite teams start, figuring things out. Um, Early on, it's so easy to be motivated. It's like, oh, a new NHL season has started, and obviously these guys are professionals, but there are a lot of like sloggy games in the middle of the season that you don't really want to show up to. It can be hard, but then obviously down the stretch, usually after the trade deadline, come the playoffs, there's a lot more to play for. Or even if you're not making the playoffs, it's like, oh, the season's coming again. Like let's end off strong. So yeah, kind of just looking at the next week, like they play Calgary on Tuesday. They play their home opener against San Jose. Oh, my birthday. And then I forget who they play after that. But yeah, you're 1-1-1 against teams that are, if not playoff teams, they're going to be battling for a playoff team. Like Utah has gone off to a 3-0 start. I think they're the only team with that. So the fact that they hung in there with them for 40 minutes. Yeah, they lost 5-2, but one of them was an empty netter. like the goals were later on in the game. I thought they played Utah really well. Seth Jones said it against Winnipeg. They played well for 59 minutes and then they let off. It's really with a team like this that doesn't have quite the skill of a Utah or a Winnipeg or an Edmonton. It's like every minute, like everything matters. You got to convert on those chances, and they had chances in that Winnipeg game. Obviously, they just couldn't convert. But then we saw in Edmonton, they got the chances, even though the power play has taken a while to kind of get to form. Like when they get the zone into the zone, they get the puck moving, getting pucks on net. Like they can score goals. So that's what they did against the Oilers. They 100% took advantage of their chances, and I think that's why Bedard and Teravainen are going to be so lethal this year, because we talked about, oh, everyone's going to be so focused on Bedard's shot, but then that allows his playmaking to shine through, and then Tavo, who we think more of a playmaker, he's going to get those one-time opportunities. So, yeah, I think Bedard and Tavo were meant for each other. I had this Ben Pote quote pulled up. Connor Bedard on Tavo Teravainen. We're getting to know where each other likes to go. He's a great player. He's fun to play with, and he makes the game easy for me. That's what Connor Bedard said about Tavo Teravainen. On to Alex Vlasic. Man, like we always rave about his defensive game, and rightfully so, but looks like he's added a bit of an offensive touch. We've always said he has a great pass out of the defensive zone, but now he's just making plays too. Like I don't expect Vlasic to ever be a crazy offensive defenseman, but I think it's within the realm of possibility, especially if he's passing the puck to Bedard for however many other years. Like this is a guy I think who can get 30, 40, maybe in 50 points. Alex Vlasic, regardless, it's so nice to have him locked up. It's so nice to have a defenseman like that, especially when you got a couple guys in your system that are more offensively minded with like Kevin Korchinski. So it's been truly awesome to see Alex Vlasic grow. And I like how Wyatt Kaiser has been playing. I mean, there's that one shift where he went to the corner with McDavid and took him down, and then McDavid retaliated and took a penalty against him. That's all you can really hope for out of a young defensive like that. So yeah, so far so good. I don't really have too many complaints. I think the big thing for me is like, what are they going to do with Reichel? What do you think about that? Because I just don't think he played well enough. I get why the coaching staff doesn't want to play him. I just didn't see enough from the preseason. But then you can't trade him. You can't sit on waivers. Like that just seems like there's no winning no matter what with Lucas Reichel there.
Yeah, I kind of hope he gets in the next game. They're not going to probably change the lineup because they won, but like he kind of is a Calgary killer, so like put him in the game.
I just hope he just give him a chance, man. Like something, like
it's gonna sound bad, but like if the team keeps playing the way they're playing, he's not getting it unless it's an injury. Like, there's no way, and it sucks because he's gonna be in limbo because they can't send him down to Rockford.
No,
so it's on him. Like, there's a reason Davidson was so disappointed when he was talking about it last week. It's a tough situation because he's gotten the chances, but I am not going to blame last year on him whatsoever. They tried to make him what Kurashev's doing right now, and it never was going to work. This guy was never a center. I don't care if he played in Rockford. He never was. He's a winger.
This is the NHL, yeah.
And he's now just become the lolcow of the team, which is unfortunate because he has offensive potential, but like you said, you got to play him if you want to trade him. And I don't want to trade him, but that's what's going to end up happening eventually. So you better hope there's someone out like, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those trades where they're going to end up trading him. It's going to be like I don't even, like, the Hawks done so many of these trades over the years. It'd be like a Yoki Haru, Alex Nylander trade.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And you're just going to have to bite the bullet at some point, I think. Clearly give him a chance in the regular season before you do that. But pressure's on for the kid. And it sucks when you're in the press box and you can't disallow that pressure. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think there's just it's not a set like I think there's just so much blame to go around it, but then there's also just the easy and harsh answer of like, oh well, not every first round pick is going to pan out, and like the Blackhawks of old in the 2010s, like yeah, you hit on Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews first and third overall, and like you found some gems in the later rounds with like Duncan Keith but then for that, you're going to get a Cam Barker. You're going to get, I think, a Jack Skilly. Like not every one of these top end draft picks are going to pan out. But then, Connor Bedard's Connor Bedard. But then we see Philip Kershaw, a 4th round pick from 2018, has established himself as a regular NHL. Could just be as simple as Lucas Reichel maybe isn't meant to do that, even though he was the 17th overall pick. And who knows, maybe. I don't see it happening in Chicago, but if a trade does happen, I could very well see him going somewhere and doing a lot better. The more and more the days go on, I just don't think that's going to be in Chicago, and it sucks because you want all your top end prospects to pan out. For a while, Lucas Reichel was kind of like the gem of the very barren Blackhawks system, but so many young players have passed him, and it's going to continue to do so with the high draft picks they have and all the young players are coming up. So. That's kind of really the only, Sorno of the Blackhawks so far. Other than that, you got to be happy with how they played, I think, though.
Yeah. Like I said, they don't look embarrassing yet, which is a good sign. And the way they're playing is structured hockey. Their penalty kill looks good.
Oh, her penalty kill has been very good.
Arvids Soderblom also deserves a shout out. He had a great game against Winnipeg.
He should have got the shutout, man.
It's a shame they took their foot off the gas the final 5 minutes of that game, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. It's been and every game's been entertaining. And that's really all I can ask for from a team that I have very little expectations for this year.
Sorry?
I was going to say my expectations are more player based. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel with how we're still pretty early on in the rebuild, it's like, oh, you're more looking for individual performances more so than anything. A lot of the young players to step up. And I was going to say something and I completely forgot what I was going to say. But there's gonna be a bad streak for them eventually. Like I expect it. Like. The road to 30 wins, if they get to 30 wins, again, they're still going to be losing 52 games between regulation losses and overtime losses. So there is going to be a stretch in like December, January, February where they lose a bunch of games. Maybe not as bad as last year where they're losing 20 plus games on the road. But yeah, there's going to be a time where we're going to come on this show and it's going to be tough to talk about this team. But again, it's so early on. This is where you can rack up the wins. This is the time where a team like Edmonton isn't really doing so well. Never really has early on. It takes them, a month or so to get their feet moving. So like all the wins, all the points matter the same. Go out there, compete, and hope like Connor Bedard takes over and hope that some of the players you signed have good offensive years. Like Tavo's done his job so far. You maybe hope that Hall, Kershaw, and Bertuzzi start, putting more offense as good as like they've been otherwise. Yeah, they all matter the same. The points, whether that's an overtime, like them getting to overtime, that's the first time in a few years where I'd be like, okay, that's cool. They've got the game to overtime, even though they're the one who gave the lead up. So it's not like you're going into overtime. It's like, oh, fuck, they're getting a point regardless. You want them to lose. It's like, no, I want this team to win. And if they get into overtime, it's like, oh, it doesn't ruin everything now. It's a good thing. So, yeah, just keep it going. That's all I really have to say. Another thing, like we bring up Soderblom, Mrazek was great last night too. So yeah, Luke Richardson, again, don't think he's on the hot seat, but like, he's got something to prove this year. A lot of the players on this team have something to prove, and they want to go out there and do it. We've seen the words, and we've seen it with the action. So 3 games in so far, liking what we're seeing. Can't really complain too much.
Yes, sir.
So, kind of talk about the games next week. They do play Calgary. Calgary is 2-0. The Sharks are 0-1-1. And do they play another? They play the 1-3-0 Sabres. Like, realistically, how many of we've talked about it. Any team can win any game, but like realistically, what do you think could be the outcome come next week? Because I think they can take the Sabres, and I think they could take the Sharks. They could realistically even take the Flames, but I think if they take 2 out of 3 next week, that's good.
Obviously, I think they're only
even go
1 out of 3. I was going to say I think they're taking 1 out of 3, but that's just me being a pessimist. But also, it's just I'm being so serious. I do not remember the last time the Blackhawks had a 5-game win streak, so I just do. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they can win a couple games. Just I just ask them to be competitive. Like, honestly, I'm really just asking for competition and not getting shut out. Because at the end of the day, like, they're probably going to finish bottom 10 again, which is for the better. It's a deep forward class. They'll get another forward for the pool and go from there. But obviously, if they could win, like, they're 3 winnable games. I'm not going to say they're not 3 winnable games. Yeah. It's just this team does not have any pedigree to think that they can win these 3 games. So I'm just going to say 1 as my honest opinion. I think they'll beat the Sharks without Celebrini on Friday. But
do it on my birthday. Please give me that. If they can win on my birthday, I'm happy.
That'd be pretty epic.
Can we agree with that?
That'd be pretty epic. But
and the home opener too.
Like, I think it's gonna be 1, but I could see a world where they win all 3, and it's mainly coming down to if 98 just goes beast mode every game, and the goalie, whoever's in, makes saves, which is usually Mrazek. So it's a good bet.
Hopefully, Brossoit soon. I don't think he's gonna be out for too much longer. So, but from what we saw with Arvid Soderblom, like, it does give you confidence that if Mrazek or Brossoit goes down again, it's like, okay, maybe it's not going to be as bad as last year.
Right? Like, they got 3 goalies, potentially 4 if you even get to the point of putting Comesso in. But
better than
talk about people who got something to prove. Arvid Soderblom, like, make their decision hard. Make them actually contemplate keeping 3 goalies on the main roster. Like, you have all the power to do that if you continue to play. Like, but also, like, I'm not gonna put too much faith in the Soderblom because he did this against Boston the first game last year too. So, like, whatever. Just keep doing it. I don't care. Just keep doing it. Maybe the Blackhawks will score more than 1 goal to fucking compensate for you both times you played good. But it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, on the real, like, the games that the Blackhawks would score goals with him, and that he led like 6 or 7. But then the game he played because the Blackhawks just didn't score for him. That's again, this not a good team, but yeah. I don't know. Do you have any more notes on the Blackhawks? I think the vibes are good so far. That's all we can hope for.
Vibes are definitely good, and like you said, that's all we can really hope for.
And, like, not only that, like, we talk about the AHL, talk about the NHL. Nick Lardis, I think I saw from Scott Powers, has 8 goals in his first 6 games. We need goal scorers, man. You can never have too many goal scorers.
If he give you a fucking 20 goal scorer on this team, I will be more than happy. Let's just put it that way.
3rd round pick, 20 goal scorer. If you take that every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I think I saw Sasha Bovair score his first goal at the University of North Dakota, which is where Jonathan Toews played, and he was drafted.
He's wearing number 9 at North Dakota too, by the way. Just to, put the comparisons together. Even though they play completely different styles of hockey, but that's not the point.
All right. Let's move on from the Blackhawks. I think we've spent enough time on them.
Okay.
Okay there, Mr. Scientist.
Okay, Mr. Scientist.
So we talked about the Blackhawks goalies and how all 4 goalies in their system are better than the Avalanche's goalie. What was it with Georgiev? Like, he let in 8 goals and had like a .680 save percentage or something like that. My brother stinks.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
The goalies have been the talk of the town, whether that's extension or notably not signing the extension. A lot of the times, working 40 hours a week, I mean, Dylan, you would know this more than anyone. You work freaking more hours than I do. It's hard to keep track with all the little transactions that happen in the NHL. So usually when I'm preparing for the podcast, trying to find topics, put stuff in the notes, I usually just go through Elliot Freeman's timeline just to see what I've missed. And a lot of goal extensions will start off first within the Blackhawks division. Jesper Wallstedt, I think, signed a 2x2. It might have been more than 2 million per year. Like it might have been 2.2 or 2.4. I can't quite remember. But he signed a 2-year extension there. This one was very interesting to me because we talked about the Seattle Kraken, how their Achilles heel has been their goaltending, how Grubauer hasn't been great. And then I see the Kraken sign Decor to a 5x5, and I'm like, hang on, is he that good? And then I checked last year, 46 games started, 50 games played, 246 goals against average, and a 916 save percentage. Like, okay, not bad, but 5x5? I don't know. Linus Olmark signing the same AAV as Jeremy Swayman, but for half the years. All that made me think about is the song in SpongeBob where SpongeBob Mr. Krabs is like, "This kitchen is not the same without you." Like that's what I thought. And then probably the biggest news was the extension that wasn't signed. Igor Shesterkin apparently was offered 8 years, 11 million per, 88 million over 8 years, but declined. It would have been the biggest contract by a goalie in NHL history. So lots happening with the goalies right now. Igor Shesterkin is interesting because if he goes to if he goes to the market, it's more than that. Like if it were to get this far, if Shesterkin's in free agency, like would you want the Blackhawks to go in on him? Because again, goaltending is such a volatile position, but we've seen just the stats that Shesterkin's put in year out. You gotta at least do your due diligence there, I would think.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm not paying 12. I'm not paying $12 million for a goalie.
Yes. That's the thing with goaltending. It's you got like Shesterkin, you gotta do your due diligence on it, but then it's like, yeah. It's really, what is it, like the linebackers in football? It's like relief pitchers in baseball. Just so much volatile. You'd rather just like pick a goalie and trust your goaltending development, like they've done with Mrazek and hopefully now with Brossoit, as opposed to just putting in money.
I genuinely think it also just comes from like we saw our team win 3 Stanley Cups with not investing in the goaltending position like that, and I have seen a lot of people invest in the goaltending position like that and succeed. Look at the last 4 Cup champions, if we're being honest.
Pretty average goalies.
Obviously, yeah. Bob they invested in. That's different. That's the first one since Vasilevsky. So, like, before that, it was Aiden Hill. Okay. It was Darcy Kemper. Okay. Vasilevsky back-to-back. Like, that's obvious. Like, that's why you pay for the goalie if you're going to do it. But even then, you're paying him $3 million more than what Vasilevsky's making. That's where I get hung up. Hold on, sorry. It's Bennington, like that's a swing and a miss.
Mixed results with that contract, and they're only paying him like $6
look at the Penguins.
Yeah.
Like the Penguins, when they won those back-to-back cups. Matt Murray is not an elite goalie.
No. Well, good, but not elite. Yeah.
Hawks won a cup with Nancy Niemi. Boston won a cup with Tim Thomas. Like, I'm just
who was elite, but like
just get a goalie that gets hot.
He was like a 10th round pick of the Quebec Nordiques in the 90s, and he won like in his late 30s. Like that just shows you the voodoo, the wizardry, and the bullshit. And like, yeah, even some of the elite goalies that won, like Bobrovsky won way, I wouldn't say, past his prime. Like he's still a good goalie, but he wasn't Vezina level like he was in the 2010s. Even with Brain Holtby, won a Vezina, and I would say like his best days were behind him when he won that Stanley Cup with him. Still was very good in that playoff run, but yeah, it's just. and very much not to diss these goalies because they're probably Hall of Famers, especially like Henrik Lundqvist. Like Henrik Lundqvist never won a Stanley Cup. Carey Price never won a Stanley Cup. It's like, yeah, you also need a team in front of them, and when you're paying their goalie that much money, it's a little harder to do that. So yeah, I think realistically, the best way to build your NHL team is just like, yeah, stack it up on front on defense and just hope a goalie gets hot enough and does their job. And that's really what the Blackhawks did when they won 2010, 13, and 15. Like, I love Corey Crawford, but he was never like a top 5 goalie, maybe top 10, like borderline. Very good goalie, but like he was never at the top with guys like Lundqvist, Price, Holtby when he was good. So yeah, but I thought it was interesting to have that discussion because yeah, goaltending. I think Jeff Merrick says it like we should just call the sport goalie because it's ultimately always the great equalizer. You know, team could be playing great, but your goaltending could be horrible, and that loses you the game. You could be playing like shit, but then your goalie stops everything and you win. So
yeah, I just can't invest in doing that.
Oh no. But I thought it was an interesting conversation to have. What do you think about Linus Ullmark extending in Ottawa?
Extending before you even play a regular season game is crazy, but that's just me.
Got pretty good money for it though, I think.
Right.
Like it feels like it's good that Ottawa got the move done, but it's clearly that they were going to have had to pay more probably than what he was worth to get him to stay there.
Right. Oh, and it comes down to just like I just wouldn't strap my rocket to Ottawa. Like, I'm going to be honest. It's just not something I would want to do if I'm trying to, win a Stanley Cup. And I don't know, man. It's not something I would do. Let's just put it that way.
No, I agree with that. But honestly, like, good for Ottawa to get it done, even if it's, like, a little bit of overpaying with the money, but only 4 years. Like, yeah. At least you know who your goalie is there.
Yeah, for Ottawa, it's great. But for Ullmark, I'm just like, dude, I would
maybe wait a little bit.
Yeah, wait more than a game. Like, I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. Like that would be where I'd start. That's just me, though.
But then again, 8.25 million a year. But it's just like you wonder how much more desperate a team like Colorado might have gotten it if he went to free agency.
Right. And he's not even going to get the chance anymore, and that's where the issue arises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, but again, goaltending is just it's so volatile. You got that kind of money in front of you. Like the trade market for goalies has always been just so weak than whatever you ever think it's going to be. The big example for me is always Ryan Miller when he got traded back. I think it was 2014. I like, oh, he's the number one guy. Like he could, be the guy that leads a team to a Stanley Cup. Got traded to St. Louis. He was okay, but I don't think Buffalo ever got anything back. Like I think they got a first, which was late in like a couple of guys, but I don't think they got like a high-end prospect or a high-end draft pick for them. And then we've just seen over the summer, like there's Ullmark didn't get a whole bunch. Jacob Markstrom didn't get a whole bunch. So yeah, it's just as a position is hard to forecast. Like it's hard to forecast, obviously, the market on goalies. So same thing with Joey Decord. Like he was good last year, but I don't know if I would have put 5 years of $5 million per. But obviously, if you're Joey Decord, you get $25 million put in front of you. Probably going to take it.
Right. And they're gonna have to buy out Philip Grubauer, right? Like that's gonna.
They have to. There's no way they can pay both their goalies that much. I would think that would be a thing.
And like Grubauer is the. What did we talk about last show? Where it's just like, oh, there's all these goalies where they're so good, they're just so good, and they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out eventually, and then they never do.
And then they don't.
They quite literally never do, and it's kind of disheartening in a sense, but also I can't put faith in them figuring it out 4 years in, and that's the case with Grubauer. So put your bet on Decord. Decord's played super well for Seattle, and you just kind of go from there. I feel like if you're Seattle, I mean, Decord's your guy, and you hope that you can get a solid backup. I mean, best case scenario, you're gonna have Best case scenario, you got both, and you can have a tandem. But I don't know. Yeah.
So I am on Puckpedia right now, since we no longer have Cap Friendly and have it for a few months now. Just checking out what it would cost for the Kraken to buy a Grubauer, because I think that's going to happen, and then reading even more into it. Yeah, it is going to happen. They buy him out. He still has 3 years left on his contract. Total buyout cost would be $6.7333 million. So they would have to pay him like $1.6833 for the next 4 years. I think they do that.
Mm-hmm. You should. I mean, should, that's for sure. Kind of ridiculous for being honest.
And the funny thing is, I completely expect if Grubauer does go to free agency, I feel, funny enough, I would feel like a team like Colorado could pick him back up again and he could get back to form. Well, yeah, it seems like goalies have been the talk of the town, so I thought it was interesting to kind of go into that conversation. And Jesper Wallstedt, who I don't think has played too many, like he's maybe played a few games at the NHL level. He then signs a contract. I think the thing is Marc-Andre Fleury is probably going to be gone. Get your money then, and then hopefully over the next couple of years, put up some good stats and then cash in on your big contract.
Listen, if you're going to bridge, you better pray to God you hit your stride.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, last year, if the stats, okay, there we go. So, yeah, he only played 3 games with the Wild last year. I mean, 897, 301 goals against average in 3 games, whatever. AHL, 45 games played, 270 goals against average, 910 saves. It's not bad. Like, not lighting the world on fire, but it's okay. So,
wait, I'm stupid. Did he extend, does the contract kick in next year or is it kicking in this year?
I'm pretty sure it's next year.
Okay, that makes perfect sense because Fleury's not going to be on the team.
Yeah.
So it's going to be him and Gustafsson. That's never mind. For some reason, I thought they were paying him $2 million this year, and I'm like, I guess, you might make your money back. But no, that's a great bet by the Wild. I think Wallstedt can get a hell of a pay raise once those 2 years are up, and the Wild are going to be in a very good position. Faber will be going into year 3 by then. Eriksson
Those bio contracts will be off the books. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yep, and hopefully you'll have a Kirill Kaprizov extension, or he'll be a Blackhawk.
Chicago. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Get excited.
I think it was back in June at the draft. I think it was both Laz and Powers. They wrote the article where they said the Blackhawks are interested in getting Kirill Kaprizov, and I mean, no shit. I think any team would be interested in getting a superstar of that caliber.
I sure hope so.
But he's a Russian and doesn't show up in the playoffs. See how well that worked out with Panarin, and he's gone. And what has he done? But I think Kirill Kaprizov, not this year, but I think by 2025, like next free agency, he'll be eligible to sign a contract. I think the Wild owners, I forget, I think it's Craig Leopold said, we're going to give him all the money and no one else is going to beat us out with that.
I'm so sure.
Back to the article, Laz and Power said that the Blackhawks view Kirill Kaprizov as a Marian Hossa, not necessarily the same player, but like the same caliber. He could have the same caliber, like can have the same impact on a team as Marian Hossa did back in the day. Be the piece that puts this young Blackhawks team over the top. And yeah, obviously you should go over after Kirill Kaprizov. I was reading 32 Thoughts, and sounds like the Blackhawks pushed harder for Gensel than it sounded like they originally did. I thought it was just a rumor where Elliot Friedman was like, maybe Gensel could be a fit in Chicago. Like, no, it kind of sounds like they did go after him, but Gensel just wanted to sign Tampa Bay, and I mean, I don't blame him. Get to play in Tampa Bay and have a chance to compete for Stanley Cup and make that kind of money. So don't blame him there. But yeah, once Connor Bedard gets older, it's probably going to be a more desirable destination for someone like Kirill Kaprizov. And like, again, with the Wild, it's never that they're bad. It's just that they're not great. Like, they have a couple guys there, but man, if you get the bag from the Blackhawks and a chance to play with Connor Bedard, yeah, you're probably going to take that. You're probably going to take the Blackhawks over the Wild.
These next 2 years are going to be very interesting. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be interesting in terms of the Hawks' development of their prospects. It's going to be interesting in terms of where this team's trajectory is and where they are in terms of the rebuild at that time. And I'm going to keep it a buck. That's not even the top winger I want. And I think we've had this talk before.
Is that Miko?
It's always Miko, bro. All roads lead to Miko. All right? Like, I'm sorry. I don't care. I know he's going to extend for like 11 mil, and I'm just going to laugh.
No, he's going to extend for like 9 times 8 or something.
Shut up. He's not taking a pay cut. Stop.
Stop.
Yeah, like, we talked about this. Like, the easiest position to add at an elite level in free agency is a winger. And they're going to build their team, hopefully, to where it's low-key, they're building their team exactly how the old Hawks teams were built, where it's going to be the thing you need is a 2C unless these guys develop. But like that's a whole other thing. It's funny. Like you can kill what's the meme? It's like you can kill the person but not the idea or whatever.
But not the idea.
Yeah, that's literally the Hawks not having a 2C. It's an evergreen statement. Except for the 1 year they had 3 good centers who didn't know how to use any of them. God bless Jeremy Colleton. But yeah.
I mean, if you get any of those guys, like you're not complaining. Like if they go outside Miko Ranch, I don't give a fuck how much they sign up to. Like there's just some free agencies. I don't know if you can overpay them. Like you're obviously not giving them the max amount, but I just look at the Rangers with Panarin. They're not regretting that at all. And Panarin, if anything, has gotten better over the course of that contract. And that's what I see with them getting, whether that's Rantanen or Kaprizov.
Panarin's over halfway through that contract. I feel so old.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. He signed that before the Panini, so. But like these are guys that have scored 100 points. I think in the case of Rantanen, 100 points multiple times. Yeah, I just 7 years, like 12 million per, potentially more. I don't know if you can go wrong doing that. And there's part of me that thinks since Rantanen is up this year that they might wait till Bedard's extension is official before like they start making those songs. But then again, like
that, what better way for him to, what better incentive for him to extend and be like, yeah, we got your winger for the next 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, Bedard's going to extend. He fucking loves it here. Like, I don't see a world like unless they lose 50 something games again this year. Like, I don't see a world where that becomes a thing.
I think. I don't want to say, but I think something bad like off the ice would have to happen again. Like, even like with all the losing, I still think he'll put up with it and go through because I think he knows like he's already been treated like a king. He's gonna get paid
it's
like a
immortality. King. Like look at. I'll throw it back to the Bears. Look at how this city is treating a 4-2 Bears team. Like this city will immortalize you if you win in it. Mm-hmm. Because they're so starved. Like, granted, with hockey, he has a little less pressure because they've seen 3 cups in that sport. But also, if you win again, like, you've seen what this city does when the team's good.
You're automatically, like, you're getting a statue built. You're getting your number hanging from the rafters.
Household name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He already has a household name, but you know what I mean.
You're going to be listed among the best Chicago athletes in history, and there's been a lot of great Chicago athletes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, I always find it funny when people are like, oh, fans and markets are too harsh. And obviously there's little pockets of some fans that are annoying and like that. But I feel the bar is pretty low. Like Bedard, I think, is already viewed as a god. And I think he still has so much more to give. And I just even look at Toronto. It's like, yeah, they're hard on them because they haven't they've only won freaking playoff run. I honestly feel if the Maple Leafs were consistently making the second round, third round, and maybe had like a cup final appearance in there, yeah, it'd suck if the drought was still happening, but I think the mood would be a lot different as opposed to losing in the first round next year. I feel a lot of fans I think a lot of fans recognize you're not going to win a championship every year, but if you're consistently, like in the second, third round, that's about all you can ask for. And then if you get a championship in there, there you go.
Yep. Day by day, brick by brick, it's built to that point.
I built this for you page brick by brick. So yeah, that's why Kirill Kaprizov would have come to Chicago, because Minnesota's never done anything like that.
Yes, sir.
Like, just the definition of it. They've only made the third round once, and that was like 20 years ago, and that was when they were playing the Mighty Ducks, and they got swept. And I think they scored like one goal because Jaguar was just on an absurd run. Never won a game past the third round, or yeah, third round beyond. Kind of like Carolina.
Real.
Carolina has a cup. All right, we're at an hour. Do you have anything more else to add, or we can wrap this up? There's not really a need to go too long. We didn't get any Twitter questions, so
yeah, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Hell yeah. So before we ended up, I finally got my like first Blackhawks jersey in I think 10 years. I think the last time I got Taves and Kane jerseys, I think in 2014. I can't remember if it was my birthday or if it was Christmas, but yeah, it's been a little while. I've grown a lot since then, so I need a jersey that fits me. And like, what better way to get a Connor Bedard jersey? I was supposed to go to the game yesterday. That would have been so nice. So I'm just like, oh, take some of the money I was gonna use for those tickets, and then I'm getting a bonus coming up. So you know what? Let's spend $250 on a jersey. So I did that. So yeah, yay me. Think it all about me.
Heck yeah. Get excited.
Hell yeah, brother. All right. We'll wrap this puppy up. Thank you all for tuning in. And once again, happy Thanksgiving to the Canadian listeners out there. We're in the thick of it right now with the NHL season. You're you're like that picture. I think it's like the dad of Coraline where he's just on his computer. He's just like, yeah, like I've had enough of this. I just want to like. Yeah, but to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform. If you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new podcasts that include our beautiful faces. So yeah, for Pierce and Dylan, take it easy, and we'll talk to you all next time. Peace out.